Hi there, you're on Gossip Says channel. Enjoy watching, subscribe and like it. It's growing our community. Story 1. I 25 Fahrenheit agreed to be a surrogate for my sister and her husband late 30s, but am regretting it now. For most of my life, my sister Alice has been wanting kids but has been unable to carry a baby to full term, in part due to endometriosis. She was in a lot of pain and had to have a hysterectomy. Alice and her husband Ben has fostered 5 children and have adopted 2 children with autism and are great parents. They have a good home environment and are financially very well off. But recently Ben and after a while Alice was bitten by the urge to have a kid biologically related to them because they wanted a chance to do things right and provide the best start in life, their views, not mine. So they asked me to be their traditional surrogate and said that they would cover all costs, legal, medical, etc. associated with it. They would also be paying off my student debt, renting a 2-bedroom apartment for 3 years, plus giving me a substantial amount of cash. I said sure, it'll be 9 months of my life in exchange for being set up for quite some time, and my immediate family thinks it is a great idea. However, when I said sure, I was expecting something along the lines of IUI, where we go to the doctor to get Ben's sperm prepped, me getting shots, etc. Basically the whole artificial insemination package. But Alice and Ben have asked me to, get pregnant the traditional way. Their rationale is that 1. It is the cheapest way to. They don't want to go to the hospital given the corona pandemic, and 3. They think babies conceived naturally are healthier, the pregnancy would be safer without the chemicals. But I just can't get over the extremic factor. And even if this was going to take place at home, I think a syringe would work fine. Am I going loony for thinking of going back on my word? Is their request reasonable? My immediate family doesn't see anything wrong with it and has been congratulating my sister on her impending baby. On the other hand, if I do give it up, am I also mad for passing up what is essentially $200K, especially in this economy now? Edit. Thank you. I see that I am completely out of my depth here and will be discussing with my sister about alternatives that don't include me carrying the baby. Not looking forward to that discussion though. Update. All the comments on my previous post showed me that I am way too young, dumb, and ignorant with what I signed up with. I started researching actual lived experiences and I read so many horror stories that I've decided to not go ahead with being involved in any way, shape, or form with helping them have kids. In fact, I'm not even sure if I want to ever get pregnant after all the stories about 3rd and 4th degree tears, poop, miscarriages. I am clearly not in the right stage of life maturity to even consider doing something of this magnitude. The difficult part was mustering up the courage to call my sister to tell her my decision. I really look up to my sister and love her lots, and our family and religion has always been about helping others out where we can. When I called her to tell her, we had a short convo at first where I basically said sorry, can't do it, but that doesn't mean I love you any less. She seemed sad but said she was happy to respect my decision, and I thought that was it. Then just last night, Sister and Bill called me back over Zoom. My sister was crying and begged me to reconsider, as both of them really wanted biological kids. Bill told me that they were really disappointed in me and hoped that I would find it within me to do this. When I told them my concerns, my Bill just said pregnancy and motherhood is a beautiful and natural process and that I was made for this. I am so glad I did this over video call instead of in person, because I just hung up on them and faked having connection problems. I've been ignoring their texts so far, and frankly I don't know what else to say. Update. Leaving for the airport in a few hours to move across the country, and I can't sleep. I plan to slowly phase out contact with my family and community, even though I love the people in their lots. Long story short, I went over to Alice and Ben's house to visit their kids in May. While there, they asked me in person to reconsider my decision. Sometime during this, Ben started kissing and groping me. I let him. I know typing this out makes me seem dumb for going over and weak, because I was. But I just froze, and it was very difficult to say no in the moment, especially with my sister crying and Ben having quite a presence in person. Trust me, I have replayed the scenario so many times in my head, wishing I was stronger in that moment. Luckily, that was the extent of it, and I was able to leave shortly after, because I don't know what I would have done otherwise. I also received surprisingly no support from my parents or my bishop regarding my earlier decision. I didn't tell anyone the recent event. I don't think they knew what Alice and Ben were asking me exactly, and I didn't bring it up either. I was already sort of an outsider for not really conforming to the usual lifestyle of being married with kids, but this still shocked me. All these things combined made me reevaluate my life. Working from home and having this much time alone has also given me a lot of time to think about things. I fell down the rabbit hole of reading stories of people who also left the church, and I want that life for me. So I've spent the last 3 months making arrangements, transferring to another part of my company, and today is the big day. I know it's not going to be easy. Pretending to be normal at the last Pioneer Day family gathering was the hardest thing I needed to do. But I did it for myself and for closure. But I'm going to get through this. Feeling grateful 1 year on. The 27th of July 2021, my 1-year anniversary of leaving the mess that was my family behind is coming up. Dusting this old account off to keep a log that maybe I can look back on. It's a beautiful sunny day here. Just feeling really grateful for life and all the opportunities I've had. Here's to the first year without them. Please subscribe, leave comments, rate videos, and click the bell not to miss my videos. Story 2. My 27 Fahrenheit boyfriend 36 meters is planning to propose. Should I tell him I slept with his older brother 40 meters before we were together? I'm not quite sure what my next move should be. Any advice would be awesome. Long story short, 3 years ago, I was a server at a local diner, and Kyle, my now boyfriend, and his brother Tim were frequent guests. Tim and I spent a lot of time together, if you know what I mean, strictly sexual, for nearly 6 months, and then went our separate ways. Nothing specific caused us to fall off. Our fling was just over, I guess. I'm not sure how to explain it. Absolutely no hard feelings were had. I also changed jobs and didn't see them anymore. ANYWAYYYSSSS. Kyle messaged me on social media a few weeks after Tim and I split, and we hit it off really well, started seeing each other, and fell in love. He's awesome. The best guy I've ever been with in every way possible. I found out he's planning on proposing. Here's where things get a little chaotic. We had been together maybe 4 months before I met any of his family. He took me to his mom's birthday party, and his whole family was there, including Tim and Tim's wife and kids. They are literally an inspirational power couple, and their kids are amazing. I was caught completely off guard and decided to wait until we left to mention it to Kyle. Until Tim cornered me, begged me not to say a word to anyone about our fling because it would break his entire family's heart and destroy his very awesome wife. Like, no kidding, dude, I decided to keep it to myself. We see him and Angie, his wife, 4 times a year maybe, and it's always with the rest of the family. Kyle and Tim don't have the best relationship, so it wasn't a big deal. But now that I know Kyle is planning to propose, I all of a sudden feel like I should tell him. Should I? Or should I just take it to the grave? Edited to add, I didn't know they were brothers from the get-go. They would come in together and separately. Everyone knew they were brothers. Sorry I didn't make that more clear. Also, no one knows about Tim and I except the 2 of us. We played it cool at work and always hung out at his place or mine. Never hung out with friends with each other or went out in public. Update: I'm truly not sure how Reddit actually works, so I'm doing the best I can here. I'm going to start off by saying Reddit auto-generated my username and I kept it. Don't hate cause you didn't get as cool of a name as me. Also, thanks for all the support and advice. I really appreciate all the sincere people. As much as I wish this were fake, it isn't. Please forgive me for my improper use of platonic. Now I know, and it won't happen again. Ho. I decided to just go ahead and tell Kyle even though my gut was telling me to take it to the grave. You ain't going to believe this times T. He already knew. Him and Tim were working together at the time, hence why they were hanging out despite not having the best brotherly relationship. He told me that Tim had mentioned that he was going to try to shoot his shot with me, and when Tim didn't say anything else about it, he figured it was because he had succeeded and they don't have the best relationship, so they don't really share the normal bro talk. Sorry to let you all down. He's completely cool with it. Says it was weird at first, but he grew up with his brother always taking girls from him and so on and so forth. I did ask him why he never mentioned it to me, and he said he figured it didn't mean anything or I would have found it important to tell him. I've been open about everything else in my past. Which he is correct. It was literally just sex. Tim also had a company apartment. Which is how I didn't know about him being freaking married. Which brings me to my next point. I asked Kyle what he thought about telling Angie. He doesn't know. Him and Tim have such a rocky past, he doesn't want to rock the boat anymore. Literally treats Angie and her kids they are not his. I just found that out like they are the best thing since sliced bread. To the point I couldn't even tell over all these years that they were his stepkids. He adores his wife and kids. She is stellar as well. Truly an amazing human. They've laughed and joked at family events how much they love each other, how great their sex life is, and just how amazing their life together is. I know I should tell her husband is a cheater, but Kyle begged me not to. He doesn't want to cause any more trouble with the family. Apparently their brotherly rival has taken huge tolls on the family before, and he doesn't want to rock the boat or sink the boat again. I know this wasn't the update you were looking for, and you will probably hang me out to dry for not telling Tim's wife, but oh well. Sorry Kyle, and I have a great relationship and can see past things that happened in the past.